ご着席ください。いろいろ操作があって難しいね。
そう。なんか空いてきちゃった。朝ほとんど食べてないから。
でも昨日クスクス召し上がってるんですよね。
でもだから食べられなかったのほとんど。あまりにもツーマッチで。だからそれでまだも食べてたから朝ほとんど食べなかったのね。そしたらさすがにお腹空いてきた。
そうですよね。でも2時半ですね。
だから昨日のクスクスだって本当に3分の1って4分の1ぐらいしか食べられなかった。
あらもったいない。本当ですか。
だってあまりにも本当になんなんだろうフィリングなんですよ。だけど高野さんすごかった。
やっぱり彼女は仕事ぶりもすごいけれども
パワフル。
なんかこう永井さん的なオーラを感じるんですけど。
パワフル。彼女は本当4分の3いった。
すごいすごい。疲れてるはずなのに
ね。アンスローさんと私は本当に4分の1いったかなって感じ。
あ、そうですか。アンスローさんは普通日はなさらないですね。日普通だけ。
そうだった。
本当？だって全然アンスローさんの声が聞こえないと思いません？日本語で聞いてる時にフランス語のリレー。
そうだったかしらね。
はい。だからきっと日仏だけやってらっしゃるのかな。
まあそれもね、
それもやり方だと思います。少なくとも分担がそうなってる。
母国語でやるっていうのはね、特にヨーロッパの通訳ってそうでしょ。なんだっけ団体があるじゃない。
アイックでしたっけ。
そう、アイックの方針がそれでしょ、確か。 日プレスとセネガルプレスの和訳っていうのが入ってる。
شكرا. مرحبا. بونجور. good afternoon. konnichiwa. السيدات والسادة الصحفيين وضيوف تونس الكرام. يسعدني
To the reporters,
في منصة الإعلامية الدورة الثامنة لندوة طوكيو الدولية
I'm
حول
Mohamed
التنمية في إفريقيا
Chabelsi
بتأملية
at Ticket 8.
أن أقدم لكم هذه الندوة الصحفية
I was serving as the coordinator, and in this
ونتقدم
final joint conference, I'll be serving as the MC first. President Said and President Sall, who's President of Senegal, as well as the chair of AU, and Foreign Minister Hayashi. Thank you very much for your attendance. Foreign Minister Hayashi is representing Japan. And His Excellency Musa Faki and Zakon Masi, representative of the UN, Abuna Ezakowa, and the representative of UNDP, and Mr. Hiroshi Matano, representing the World Bank, MIGA, and there is also another official representing the World Bank, and Prime Minister Kishida, the floor is yours.
I am pleased that Ticket 8 has come to a successful conclusion in Tunisia as the first Ticket conference to be held since the outbreak of COVID-19 and as the second Ticket to be held in Africa. I would like to deeply thank, first of all, President Said of Tunisia for serving as co-chair and host of Ticket 8, and President Sall of Senegal for serving as co-chair, and also the participating African countries, business people, all those who made effort for the success of Ticket 8, as well as the people of Tunisia. I would like to express my sincere gratitude of all these people. I also appreciate from the bottom of my heart the many words of condolences expressed by so many of you on the passing of the late Prime Minister Abe. Through Ticket 8, I was able to feel the vitality of Africa, where we expect dynamic growth. I also feel that it is important for Japan to grow together with Africa as Africa grows with dynamic power. At the same time, it is true that a series of contradictions of the global economy, such as inequality and environmental problems, are concentrated in Africa at this moment. In addition, we need to urgently deal with issues such as the food crisis caused by Russian aggression against Ukraine and unfair and opaque development finance. Japan aspires to be a partner growing together with Africa. Japan contributes strongly to the development of Africa by overcoming challenges in Africa together with Africa. By doing so, Japan learns and grows too. Japan, as a partner, takes an approach which focuses on people
وهي
I have
في
explained these
مقاربتها
ideas
اليابان
and
تركز
received
على
support from
الإنسان
many African
والكثير من
leaders.
القادة الأفارقة
This
يعني عبروا
also
عن تأييدهم
embodies the
لهذه
concept
الفكرة
of
فكرة
new form of capitalism that I have
أنا
been
أدعو
advocating.
إلى رأسمالية جديدة هي تتمثل في الأفكار التي أشرت
The
إليها
US $30 billion as
وقد
the sum
أعلنت عن
of public and private financial
تقديم 30 مليار دولار
which I
من
announced during this
التمويل من
conference,
أجل الاستثمار
focuses on
للموارد
investment in
البشرية
people and
والنمو
quality of
بجودة
growth and aims
عالية
for a resilient
من
and
أجل
sustainable
تحقيق
Africa while solving
إفريقيا
various problems faced by
مرنة
the African people.
ومستدامة
In
وخاصة
particular,
نقوم
Japan is going to take the
بمبادرات
following measures to realize further
التالية
development in
أولا
Africa. First,
نطلق
the
مبادرة
launch
النمو
of the
الأخضر في
$4
إفريقيا
billion
بمبلغ 4
Japan's Green
مليارات
Growth
دولار
Initiative with Africa to improve the
وثانيا
quality of people's lives.
إنشاء صندوق
Second,
استثمارات
an investment
للشركات
fund for startups
الناشئة
of over 10 billion Japanese yen provided by the Japanese business community to support the entrepreneurship of energetic young people. Third, human resource development of 300,000 professionals who will support the future of Africa. Fourth, the support of up to $5 billion provided through cooperation with the African Development Bank for the comprehensive development of the private sector. Fifth, a new contribution of up to $1.08 billion for the Global Fund for tackling infectious diseases. Sixth, food assistance of $130 million for building resilient and sustainable societies aimed at defending people's lives as they face rising food and energy prices, as well as the co-financing of a $300 million loan for the African Emergency Food Protection Facility of the African Development Bank. Through these measures, working together with Africa, Japan will contribute vigorously to African development based on African ownership. It is important to revitalize the international flow of people to proceed with various initiatives. Japan has recently reviewed its travel advice and warning on infectious diseases for countries and regions with low numbers of COVID-19 infections, including many African countries. Furthermore, we will gradually ease our border control measures so that entry into Japan will become as smooth as it is in other G7 countries. Although TICAD 8 came to an end today, what is important is the concrete actions that will follow the discussions we had in the meeting. TICAD is a living process, and I intend for us to move forward together for the further development of Africa. I look forward to welcoming African participants to Japan in 2025. Thank you very much.
شكرا لمعالي سيد رئيس الوزراء الياباني.
Prime Minister Kishida, thank you very much for your remarks. Next, I would like to ask President Kais Saied. Thank you very much for this opportunity. At TICAD 8, I would like to share with you my impressions and what conclusions we have reached during the conference. As for what we have agreed, there were many, but there were many the questions and issues where solutions and answers were not given. There are some pending issues as well. These are to do with the future. That said, however, the Tunis Declaration has been put forward. And in the Tunis Declaration, there are many issues and challenges being mentioned. These are to do with societal development. In the process of reach an agreement for the Tunis Declaration. African states are living in a inhumane circumstances. We cannot really understand what are the reasons. These are to do with some internal issues inside the continent. Some governments do not have proper mechanisms. Democracy may be in shortage, but also there could be some exogenous external factors working. After independence, African nations may not have been able to exercise full self-determination, which was most unfortunate in Africa as well as in other regions. In the developing countries, these issues persist. So how can we overcome this problem? We need to seek solutions. We were able to discuss with Japan on possible solutions, not only Africa, but this is a question that befalls the whole humankind. Together with Prime Minister Kishida, we had the debate at the final stage of the conference. We need to have rule of law established internationally, and this is what I have agreed with Prime Minister Kishida. The people of the world, the peoples of the world need to peacefully coexist with each other. We need a comprehensive and holistic approach. Unless we adopt such holistic approach, I don't think we can solve the problems before us. In the past 2 years, all of us has been suffering because of the COVID pandemic. But amidst such circumstances, we have tried hard to ensure human rights because international cooperation is indispensable if we are to preserve health, education, social security, peace, and fair distribution of wealth internationally and also domestically. These are also relevant when we are to think about the human rights. The relationship between ourselves and the international society, we need to work closely together, hand in hand, from equal footing. We need to bring solutions to all these matters. There is another question of accumulated debt. There is a relationship with what I have been delineating right now, because we need a foothold and foundation for the assets of people. Having gone through decades, we may be able to repay our debt, but it would impose a huge burden on our people. Many developing countries have been plundered trillions of dollars away from them. Natural resources and treasures have been taken away. How to recover such assets for the past 50 years or 60 years?
OAU has been established, and finally it has evolved to African Union. And through African Union, a genuine partnership need to be pursued. That would be the partnership between Japan and the African nations. With such hope and outlook in mind, we hope that we will be able to realize our goals. Africa has been suffering. We are still suffering. In the past years, there have been many cases of violence in Libya. Just yesterday, the situation have turned to be very explosive. These are the issues to be solved by the people of Libya, because there is a contention between the peoples of Libya right now. But without the cooperation from the other countries, we may not be able to see a success. Justice must prevail inside the country, and justice must be seen from with the outside the country. Without that, we cannot solve the issues of poverty or the issues of terrorism. In the acts of violence, all these societal problems are in the background. We need education. We need to nurture and educate our children. Based upon clear-cut national principles, we need to apply good education. Unless we do so, the acts of terror and extremism may not be able to be eradicated. Of course, there could be many reasons and causes behind the acts of terror. We can find many reasons and sources in our past decades, but in order for us to arrive at solutions, we need to look at the root cause of all these problems. Africa is actually benefiting from very rich and abundant natural resources. And as the African states, they aspire to become, indeed, a firm nation state. There may have been some fiscal problems, but even with the funding being made available, there is a reverse move of immigration. People are moving north, just like migrating birds are moving north. People are moving north, and even more further north. There are issues of loans and debts. Who is loaning to whom? And how are they effective? From the global north to the global south, the money is flowing in. And inside a country, youth who cannot realize his or her dreams would have to move away from his or her country and move north. Which means countries of Africa needs to create jobs. And as we forge partnerships with the different countries and partners, and as we proceed with our cooperation, we need to walk hand in hand for better future. Humanity may have opened up a new page of history. There are many different options.
Many acts of terror and military coup are happening in different countries. Because of economic and social conditions, global circumstances may be inadequate, which may nurture such violence. As for Tunisia, thanks for all the efforts and supports, we are seeing improving situation. We were able to successfully hold TICAD 8 with such benign environment being created. We are grateful for your support that Tunisia has been able to bring in such a huge conference. Tunisia will be able to successfully hold such an international conference. We were able to showcase that we do have such capability. So through TICAD 8, I hope that we can make further contribution for the future.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Next, turning to His Excellency, President of Senegal, President Sall. Thank you very much. I'll be brief. President Kais Saied, thank you very much for your reception. A very warm reception to all of us. Thank you so much. And Prime Minister Kishida, we're very thankful. The TICAD 8 was led to a huge success. And despite COVID-19, we have the attendance of the Foreign Minister of Japan, the African Union, the UN, the World Bank, and UNDP are the co-organizers. Thank you so much. The theme was very appropriate. Matters of interest to Africa, the topic of African growth. The continent must have a structural transformation that is a matter of interest to all of us. And Prime Minister Kishida talked about an economic program. An economic program was realized. The NEPAD program was assisted by Japan. Together, we are deciding on the program for the continent, especially with respect to telecommunications infrastructure. That is the case. The African Continental FTA exists. In order for that to prosper, and for countries to trade with each other, we need infrastructure, we need telecommunications. For the prosperity of Africa, that is essential. There's another thing, society. We need to create a resilient society. We had a session dedicated to this topic. Despite COVID-19, societies in Africa were resilient. Despite the health situation, the response was rather quick. When we did not know the nature of this infectious disease, the number of cases and the number of deaths, it wasn't as bad as it was feared, and adaptation to various crises, including COVID-19, African continent had the capability to adapt. The third topic was a very important one, which was peace and stability. We took up that topic in the third session. Unfortunately, Africa still has terrorism. Africa is the central region for global terrorism. This is a global issue that we must consider. Islamic State, battles are going on in the Middle East against the Islamic State. 200,000 soldiers and $100 billion have gone to Syria and Afghanistan, and also in Iraq. The mission in Mali is without sufficient funding. In order to eradicate terrorism on the continent, we need more funding. So what we want from Japan is this discussion on terrorism could be taken up at the UN Security Council more seriously, because the first mission of the UN Security Council is peace and stability. In the end, SDGs goals would not be met if we don't have peace and stability. And today, in Africa, we still need more assistance to fight terrorism in Africa, and the effective methodology of Japan, for example, being punctual. The Japanese style was expressed this time. And Japan is showing interest in Africa. Thank you so very much to Prime Minister Kishida. And in the course of the TICAD conference, that interest was expressed. We had a very important conference for the 2 days, and the Tunis Declaration was well organized. It's a good document. And priorities of the African continent are treated in this document. We agree and support this document. And the Yokohama Action Plan has been updated. So moving forward, $30 billion contribution was announced. We hope that that will actually be expended so that our objectives and goals will be met. And SDR channeling. We are asking for channeling of SDR, special drawing rights. With the COVID-19 pandemic and the war in Ukraine, African economies have become weak. How can we rebuild our economies? How can we meet the needs of the young people? How can we rebuild our economies? Looking at Africa, we cannot just have circular discussion. We need to have channeling of SDR amounting to $650 billion to be channeled for all of the continent of Africa. We only have 33 billion SDR. So various countries are involved in the debt issue. We need to seek a solution, debt reduction or debt forgiveness. We are faced with a double crisis. So these are things that we must consider. And about energy transition, we also had a discussion. We need to have base energy. And in order for Africa to develop, we need to have energy. And African countries do have their natural resources. Nobody can stop African countries from tapping their natural resources that could finance the economy, allow economies to have more competitiveness, and to use the funds for taking measures against climate change. World over, the global warming issue, well, Africa only contributes to 3% of the pollution of the issue of climate change. We first need to industrialize. That is, the energy issue is the one that we have to consider. Renewable energy needs to be promoted, of course. 600 million people are still without power. And therefore, we need basic energy. We also need water, sanitation. Those improvements will have to be made. Japan is priority partnership, and vaccines need to be produced here in Africa. We want Japan to cooperate in this area. Pharmaceutical production in Africa is also included.
I thank the President of Senegal. Next, I would like her to open the floor for questions and answers. As you have been informed, there will be one question from Japan and one question from Tunisia. So, Ono-san will be moderate for the Japanese side, and for question on Tunisia and also for Senegal, in that order. I would like to ask the Japanese press to ask the question. So, Yura-san from Yomiuri Shimbun, please. Yes, this is Yoda from Yomiuri Shimbun newspaper. At the TICAD 8 this time, the participants at the leaders level was only about 20 or so countries. So as compared to the TICAD 7 in Yokohama, there has been a significant reduction. As for government of Japan, because of these circumstances, were you able to have adequate outcome out of this TICAD? Thank you for the question. So I would like to give you the answer to the question. The TICAD 8 this time, we have taken into consideration all sorts of different circumstances so that all the people will be able to feel safe participating because of the COVID pandemic. So as to the functions and events, as well as the size of participants, we had to narrow down. So on the whole, the magnitude may be different from the past TICAD conferences. But even with such circumstances, we had many leaders and dignitaries from the African states. And we had very lively and interactive discussion from yesterday and today to do with many different sectors. And amongst the leaders of Japan and Africa, we were able to adopt the Tunis Declaration. So in a broad-ranging area, we were able to come to agreement for the Japan-Africa cooperation going forward. Now, as for Japan, we would like to see a jump forward for Japan-Africa relationship. So in the coming 3 years, Prime Minister Kishida has stated that with a total sum of $30 billion of financial contribution to be invested from the public and private sectors, and as the partner, growing together with Africa, we will invest into people, and we will place emphasis on the quality of growth, so that we will be able to reach solutions working together with the people of Africa to bring solutions to many issues, to create a resilient and sustainable Africa. Together with the different partners, we would like to continue to firmly work together for the further growth of Africa.
Next, a question from Tunisia. Haman, African Wire. President Said, this is a question for you. On various occasions, President Said, you talked about a new Africa and a new approach. Rich human resources, that is what Africa has. What kind of direction do you think Africa can have going forward? Thank you for that question. There is a new approach. We are now entering into a new situation in the world, so it's based on this new situation. This is based on partnership, not just about Japan, with the rest of the world. This substantial partnership needs to result in concrete results, concrete benefits. As we heard from the President of Senegal, global warming issue exists. Africa is being negatively impacted by global warming by a large magnitude. And there are conflicts arising from global warming. Whose responsibility is it that global warming is taking place, and who's paying for global warming? These are facts. Based on these facts, we need to have reconciliation. African countries do have significant resources on the continent, and it is African countries that will work on these issues. Right now there is a food crisis. Grains are in shortage. Agriculture capacity, if that is enhanced in Africa, then the whole of Africa, as well as whole of Arab countries' demand could be met. What is needed here is ideological encirclement. In the 19th century and in the 20th century, an approach that is different from the past, a new age is arriving at our doors. In this new age, based on common humanity, we need to establish new goals and objectives. This is the new approach that I'm talking about. For sustainable growth and for global warming, numerical targets and growth numbers. Yes, we do have these objectives, but that's just arithmetic and not very meaningful. We have to base ourselves on the reality, based on the realities of our lives today. We need to be looking forward because we're entering into a new historical phase. The world must cooperate together. Justice, fairness, that includes fair distribution of resources, and there's the issue of pollution. It is the polluters who should pay, but we are the ones end up paying for the pollution. Africa is paying. But where did this environmental pollution come from? This is just one example. Fairness, justice. All the peoples around the world must be treated fairly. This is a new recognition. These are the things that we should learn from the past. Thank you. Next, going to Senegal. Question from Senegal. President Sall.
أنا سؤالي
Part of my question has already been answered previously in your initial remarks, but I would like to ask for your prospects going forward. The priorities of Africa,
أولويات لإفريقيا هي طبعا سيتم تمويل جميع النظام بقدر
has been
بمبلغ
expressed from Japan, but what are the prospects for cooperation? That's my question.
وكيف
Thank you for the question.
التعاون. شكرا. إذا كل شيء مضمون
It's
مكتوب
all
يعني في البيان.
discussed in this declaration document. And prior to TICA, we had preparatory meetings, we have had consultations, so the content of this document had now been agreed, and the priorities include structural change in the economy, enhancing resilience, as we have seen in the COVID pandemic. The society has to be more resilient to these shocks, economic and well, there's the war in Ukraine, and the supply chains are being disrupted and daily necessities are in shortage, and oil prices are surging, and countries need to adapt to these situations, cutting taxes so that people can get transfers. We need to enhance resilience. We have to cooperate with each other. The economy has to be more strong. The private sector must be promoted, and trade also needs to be promoted. Jobs must be created, meeting the needs of the economy. That is exactly why private sector companies must cooperate, and funding for startups is needed. Sufficient funds. We would like Japanese businesses to invest sufficient amounts of money. Those are the needs that exist on the continent. We do have ample human resources. They need to be educated and trained, receiving vocational training. That also included in the Tunis Declaration. Young people must be educated. That's important. And it's important that they should be skilled so that they can get a job. When we ask them to work, it's not always the case that their skills are fairly evaluated. As we have seen in the Abbott Initiative, Senegal schools and Japanese schools are tied together to create a network of vocational training. That is what we desire. It doesn't have to be university level education, but digital and other new professional areas, we need to provide training to young people. And number one is terrorism and security measures. Without security, without peace, we cannot develop.
الإنشاءات الأمنية يعني هذه الأمور أيضا يعني من أولوياتنا بطبيعة الحال.
So counter-terrorism measures
مكافحة
is another area where we want assistance, not just from Japan, but the World Bank and the IMF.
فقط
African countries
إنما الدول
are
الإفريقية
having have to
تنفق
pay so much for
كثيرا
defense
على
spending. We
الشؤون
need to
العسكرية
develop our soldiers
والأمنية
and we need to buy equipment.
بهذا
But
السبب
those are the investments made from the resources that should have been spent on the society. We need to emerge out of fiscal deficits. Western Africa, 30% of the national budget is being used for the purposes of defense. Normally, it should go towards education and health. And therefore, Ticket 8 has shown us the direction forward. For counterterrorism, assistance is to be provided. That is to spend for safety. Because that would lead to further development. We need to change our mentality. And UN force deployment in Africa needs to be reassessed. The African Union for Peace and Stability, we do have our architecture. However, we don't have the funding. There are various issues that are being considered by African people with the support of our partners. It's not just limited partners. All kinds of partners must provide assistance. We need to have such a roadmap. Various partners, including Japan, we will explore our way forward. How to get the needed resources to have a success of TICAD conference so that we can prepare for the future. Thank you very much to the Prime Minister of Japan, to the President of Tunisia, to the representatives of government officials, and to also the interpreters. Thank you so very much for taking part in this TICAD 8 meeting. Looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much.
お疲れ様でした。
混乱の極みでした。
あ、そうですか。
はい。装置がもうまず音がつながってなかったりとかいろいろありました。もう始まるギリギリまでテストして、もう混乱の極み。最後にでもつながってよかった。
あ、そうですか。
わけがわからない。